Good morning. We're just inviting people to make their way out to get breakfast if you would like. Obviously, there's coffee over here to the side, but if you're here, feel free to head over there to begin getting breakfast. Good morning, everyone. It's 7 a.m., about 15 minutes, and we will get started. If you haven't made your way out to get breakfast yet, we encourage you to do so, and there's also a coffee station here on the side. Look forward to getting started in just 15 minutes. Good morning, everyone. The program will begin in 5 minutes, so if you've not been able to get your breakfast yet, we encourage you to make your way out to do that now. We'll begin in 5 minutes. guys have to smile a lot, all right? Well, good morning, everyone. We always joke at Heart to Heart that our role as facilitators is to interrupt good dialogue after we get it started. And so, in the spirit of interrupting, we'll have everybody join us here. And there is still food out there, so if you weren't able to get it yet, feel free to make your way out there. But want to begin by welcoming you to the 29th annual Greater Akron Speaks Out for Values Breakfast. So yeah, I hear some, we can clap for that, right? My name is Jeremy Lyle, and I'm the Executive Director of Heart to Heart Leadership, and I also have the honor of being your MC for this morning. So excited to be here. Our theme for this morning is Protect Your Peace, Leadership Well-Being. And you're going to hear from several community leaders about this all-important topic, including our keynote speaker, Teresa LeGrair of the Akron Urban League. As always, the morning's flow has been curated to help you engage the topic for your own life and leadership. Now, please join me in welcoming to the stage someone who has helped me protect my peace through encouragement, vision, and support, the Heart to Heart Leadership Board Chair, Dr. Fideria Nicholson-Sweeble.
Thank you, Jeremy. Good morning, everyone. We are delighted to see so many of you join us today, both in person and virtually, for the Heart to Heart Leadership's 29th annual Greater Akron Speaks Out for Values Breakfast. As Jeremy mentioned, I am Fideria Nicholson-Sweeble, and I have the great pleasure and privilege to serve as the chair of the Board of Directors for Heart to Heart Leadership. And on behalf of the entire board, I bring you greetings. Thank you to our sponsors for your generous support. We greatly appreciate it. Heart to Heart Leadership has inspired leaders in our community for more than 30 years, facilitating and engaging in conversations around topics of mission, value, vision, and purpose. We are an organization that challenges individuals to look within and to lead beyond. I am affiliated with this great organization for three key reasons. First, because of the organization's mission of enriching lives by helping individuals and organizations to strengthen and to live their inner values. This resonates with me and inspires me to lead from a place of my own core values. My second reason for being affiliated with Heart to Heart is due to my fellow board of directors and their level of engagement and commitment to this organization. I would like to recognize them and to ask those board of directors who are in attendance, would you please stand and be recognized? Thank you. And lastly, my third reason for being affiliated with this great organization is because of our exceptional executive director and his team. As a board, we are so proud of the great leadership exhibited by Jeremy Lyle and his fantastic team that has resulted in the tremendous growth of Heart to Heart Leadership. Please join me in giving them a round of applause. I would like to also thank our annual breakfast committee for all of their hard work in making today possible. I also have to acknowledge our founders, Father Norm Douglas and Larry Vulliman. Thank you for your vision and insight. Today, we are so fortunate to have as our keynote speaker, Teresa LeGrair, President and CEO of the Akron Urban League. I'm privileged to serve on the board of the Akron Urban League, and Teresa is not only an outstanding leader who continues to make the Akron Urban League proud, but she is a jewel and a treasure to the greater Akron community, and I look forward to hearing from her this morning. Again, thank you for being here. Please enjoy the breakfast.
Thank you, Fideria. You know, every year we begin planning for this event, and there's that kind of gut check moment where you wonder, are people still going to show up and show out for values-based, purpose-driven, community-minded leadership in our community? And year after year, you all show up in a big way, and this year is no exception as you look around the room and see that it is packed yet again. And so we want to begin by thanking our sponsors this year, and specifically United Way of Summit and Medina, our gold sponsor, our silver sponsors, Ann Brennan, Kyocera SGS Precision Tools, the Maynard Family Foundation, Myers Industries Incorporated, NMG Aerospace, and State and Federal Communications. In addition to these sponsors, we would also like to thank all of our amazing bronze, nickel, patron, and in-kind sponsors who are listed in your program. And we're also grateful for each and every one of you here today and joining us virtually for the workplace and leadership values that you embody in our community. Thank you. And we can give a round of applause for that as well. We also would like to recognize any elected officials and people serving to protect our city and country. Would you please stand to be recognized if you're here with us today? And as Fidelia already acknowledged, it takes a team to pull off a big event like this and to do the work that we do. And so I want to say thank you to the Breakfast Committee, our Heart to Heart team, our staff, our board members, our co-founders, our facilitators, our individual supporters, our Heart of Gold supporters, and our volunteers who give their very best each and every day to support the mission of helping leaders to look within so that they can lead beyond in the greater Akron community. And I know some of you already stood, but I'll ask all of you who I just mentioned to stand to be recognized as well. Board, staff, volunteers, supporters, thank you all very much. And last but not least, I always like to take this opportunity to thank my wife, Christy, who is a constant inspiration and example to me and our 4 children of the importance of well-being as she balances the roles of wife, mother, daughter, sister, aunt, employee, leader, and student, or perhaps I should say graduate, as she just finished up her degree in social work yesterday from the University of Akron. Congratulations, and thank you. You know, I often have people ask me why we don't give out any awards at our annual event. And here's the reason. You all are the reason that we're here today, to celebrate each and every one of you and the teams and organizations and networks and communities in which you live and lead and serve. Today isn't about just one person, although we will hear in just a few moments a powerful message from Teresa LeGrair. But it's about each and every one of us showing up in that spirit of collaboration and giving our best to make the world and individual lives better. And our repeated message to all of you is that yes, that important and impactful work can happen through the work of your hands, which we define as anything you do to improve the well-being of others. So let's also take a moment to just give each other a round of applause for showing up today. That may seem like a small thing or even trite, but over these past couple of years, we have been eyewitnesses to the incredible strength of the human spirit in the face of incredible adversity. And as we remind people in our resiliency workshops, you are heroes, but you're not superheroes. Let's be honest, the last couple of years have been incredibly difficult and have required all of us to step up and make unique changes and adjustments on the fly with little time for reflection. And as research shows, we can all kick into that extra gear for a little bit of time, but eventually it catches up to us. We need to acknowledge the loss and the hurt and the pain and the difficulties that we've all experienced as well. And speaking of research, one of my favorite studies, if you're a Clifton Strengths person, my number one strength is input. So I love the data and the research. One of the favorite studies I came across recently is from Gartner, who focuses on providing actionable, objective insights to executives and their teams. They surveyed more than 3,500 employees worldwide about how the pandemic has impacted their feelings about work and life. And their conclusion is that perhaps we are missing the point by calling the mass exodus from the workplace the Great Resignation, and instead should be seeing it for what it truly is, something that I believe was coming even before the global pandemic, the Great Reflection. They noted, people are asking themselves questions like, what makes me happy and whole? What truly satisfies me? Where have I given away too much of myself for little return? I'm going to read that one again. Where have I given away too much of myself for little return? And you'll see on your screen here a little bit of what they discovered through that research. 65% of people said that they shifted their attitude toward the value of aspects of life outside of work. 65% said it made them rethink the place that work should have in their lives. 62% said that it made them long for a bigger change in their life. 58% said it changed their perspective on the desirability of their workplace location. 56% said it made them want to contribute more to society. 52% said it made them question the purpose of their day-to-day job. And 50% said it changed their expectations toward their employer. We have a room full of leaders here this morning, and I implore you to be paying attention to these findings, because I think they will be critical to leading into the future. For the rest of this morning, you're going to be invited into a time of reflection, an opportunity to think about your life and your work and leadership, and how you can show up authentically to make the unique contribution to this world that only you can offer. And as we all emerge and re-engage, we want to emphasize that the team at Heart to Heart Leadership is poised and ready to partner with you as an individual or with your organization or team to help you go from the Great Resignation to the Great Reflection and ultimately to the Great Renewal that we know takes place when individuals and organizations align their purpose with their passion and focus it in a specific way that helps others to flourish. We at Heart to Heart Leadership focus on leadership development with a unique point of view. We ask people to look within so that they can lead beyond, understanding themselves first so they can effectively lead others. Partnering with Heart to Heart has proven to cultivate better leaders for organizations, for our community, and broader society. We deliver that expertise through facilitation, coaching, programming, and consultation. And our proof point is our 30-plus years of experience, hundreds of participating organizations, and thousands upon thousands of program alumni. In just the past 11 months, our team delivered nearly 50 programs in 35 organizations to over 2,000 partners. We offered thousands of dollars of tuition assistance and scholarships that is available because of your support today. We launched our 4th expedition of our flagship Purposeful Leadership program with our most diverse class ever. And when they graduate next month, we'll have nearly 50 graduates of the program, and we'll begin recruiting for our fall expedition shortly. We continue to offer programs focused on resiliency and self-care to those navigating the pandemic, especially those in education and the nonprofit sector. We increased our diversity, equity, and inclusion and belonging efforts by adding 2 new facilitators to the team to help individuals and organizations intentionally improve their initiatives in these areas and to embed it in the culture of their organization. And we also launched a yearly membership program called Lead Beyond that provides quarterly workshops and monthly reflections for those wanting to continue to grow in their leadership. People often ask me, does Heart to Heart do fill in the blank? And the answer most often is yes. You have a 2-sided page on your table that tells you a little bit more about the programs and services that we offer. We would be happy to sit down with you for a free consultation if you'd like to learn more about how we partner with you to help you look within so that you can lead beyond. So feel free to reach out to us at any time. And lastly, you have a small plant where you are seated with a QR code in the pot. You see our little logo. If you turn that around, there's a QR code. It will take you to a link that has several videos for you to view. Our team created a few reflections that will help you take that all-important break to reflect and renew. The plant is also yours to keep as a small reminder of the importance of taking care of yourself. Just like a plant needs regular water and sun, so we need regular times to step back and recharge. And please take them with you so we don't have to pack all of them up either. Take one for a friend as well. And try not to spill too much dirt. We love the night staff, so no. Yeah, a little gift for you. All right, I would now like to invite to the stage my colleague, mentor, and friend, with whom I am honored to work with and without whom we would not be able to do what we do, Heart to Heart Senior Director of Leadership Development, Dr. Chris Williams, who will share a little bit further about our theme of leadership well-being. Welcome, Chris.
Well, good morning, everyone. And if you've been coming to these heart-to-heart breakfasts this will be the 29th year, and I know we have to have a few people who have been here almost the full time, you always know that we have a reflection. And in that reflection, we take time to learn just a little bit about ourselves, and we also take time then to share a little bit and hopefully walk out the door with something that we can use in our leadership. So, as we start today, let's start out with a little bit of ancient wisdom and recognizing that this whole idea of leadership and well-being clearly go together. So if you take a look here, this ancient wisdom of the Tibetan proverb, the secret to living well and longer is to eat, eat half, walk double, laugh triple, and love without measure. Now, I absolutely love the saying, but I love the look on that little girl's face. Just look at her, and she is like, oh, here I am world, full of enthusiasm, the looking forward to the day, that whole sense of well-being and joy. So the question that comes to mind is, how many of us roll out of bed in the morning or walk into work in the morning going, here I am, here I am. Well, it's a tough road often in those mornings, and so all I know is that I would like more of what that little girl has. So, if we take a look at this, and we look at what can we do as leaders to move the needle from more to looking at how she looks to what, versus those lots of challenges that we have as part of our day. And I want to go back. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to ask you to think about something else. Imagine that a colleague comes into you and says, I goofed, I made a mistake, and I feel really bad about it. So think about this. What would you say to this colleague who you respect and you care about? Well, you'd likely say, I feel really sorry that this happened to you. And then you might even say, so how you doing with all this? How's it going for you? And finally, I'll lay odds that at some part of the conversation, you would say, look, we're human. We all make mistakes. The best that we can do is just try to rectify what we can and move on. So here's the bigger question. If we can do that for others, why can't we do that for ourselves? If we can show compassion for others that we care about, why can't we show compassion for ourselves? And it turns out that leadership and self-compassion is a big deal. And it turns out that a lot of leaders are struggling with this whole aspect of self-compassion. Now we know this, one, because you can hardly pick up a leadership magazine, a Harvard Business Review, or a Forbes without reading something about in the last few years leadership and self-compassion. But here's the thing, there's the research, and then there's our direct experience at Heart to Heart. And what we do know is that we have talked with hundreds and hundreds, not just talked with, worked with hundreds and hundreds of leaders here in our community who are able to say, I do care about others, I do demonstrate compassion, But the truth, I have not considered it for myself. And so there's the rub that we have. And so we take a look at what is self-compassion, and what it is not is being selfish. It's not trying to get off without, honoring our mistakes, and it's certainly not wimpy. But what it is acknowledging the tough parts of life and giving yourself the love and the kindness to keep going. So we take a look at self-compassion. Believe this, makes you a better leader. And why does it make us a better leader? Well, and I really love this. I pulled it out of one of the articles, this whole idea of self-compassion can turn our inner critic into our inner coach to help us learn and grow. And what we do know is that leaders who demonstrate self-compassion, one, are more self-aware, they're more resilient and able to move beyond mistakes that have been made. They connect not only with themselves, but with others as well, and can model for those in their organizations as well that self-compassion is a good thing. And finally, the last thing is you just feel better. You have a greater sense of well-being. So when we say, well, what do we do about this? And the idea is take a self-compassion break. This is an anytime, anywhere thing you can do. It takes you a minute or two. It's literally shooting through your brain like this. And there's always three components. There's the component of self-kindness, where we're being kind to ourselves. There's the component of mindfulness, where we're saying, hey, I feel bad. I'm hurting right now, and that's okay. And then there is the component of common humanity. So you have these questions here, but it's all around then the common humanity of we're humans. We're not perfect as we move through the world. So what we're going to do now is take a self-compassion assessment. And on your table, you have a sheet that says self-compassion assessment. You don't need a pen or anything, but what we want you to do is look at these 7 questions. And to just overall, here's the directions. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the highest, we're going to ask everybody to give themselves a number of how self-compassionate are you. And these questions will help guide you with that number. So how kind are you to yourself? When feeling down, how able are you to approach your feelings with curiosity and openness? How able are you to accept yourself for not meeting your own or others' expectations? How tolerant and patient are you with yourself? When times are tough, are you able to ease up on yourself? How able are you to resist allowing others to drain your energy? And when you fail at something important to you, how able are you to put this in a perspective? So right now, just pick a number, 1 to 10, your ballpark on it, easy assessment, and we'd like you to turn to 1 or 2 people at your table. Share your number and share why you gave yourself that number. And we'll just give you about 3 or 4 minutes, all right? So if you go ahead and turn to those at your table, we'd appreciate it. Thank you.
We overbooked our front table here. Just gonna do a quick check-in with Amy and make sure.
Okay, if we could have everybody come back. Here we go, shutting down the conversation again. So, hopefully, you've been able to give this a little bit of thought, share with some others. Maybe other people have things in common. You have shared some similar aspects of self-compassion. And finally, we want you to walk out the door with something that you can use in your leadership. So, you do have cards on the table that have the self-compassion questions and also the tips for self-compassion. We also want to remind you of something Jeremy mentioned earlier. If you use that code and you go online to our website, Dr. John Roper right here has a lovely, beautiful self-compassion meditation that we encourage you to visit. So with that, as we close out, self-compassion really is a gift that we bring to ourselves, and it's really, the bottom line, a call towards wholeness and well-being, something that is much needed in this world, not only for ourselves, but for those that we serve. And so with that, what we'd like to do now is continue, and we're going to watch a video and continue to listen to other leaders in our community, how they support their own well-being and how they lead others. Thank you.
Leadership well-being is really, for me, the things that I'm only passionate about and that align well with my purpose. My well-being for so long wasn't a priority. When you don't slow down, it really impacts the quality of your work and everyone else around you that you're leading. It's a little bit of a fallout, a domino effect. So leadership well-being is definitely something that we all have to pay attention to, whether you're in a leadership role or not. You're the leader of your life. Definitely mental peace is the most important for me, because when you have a calm mind, you can think clearly, you can execute projects and learn to delegate when necessary. I love to have a full calendar and go from this place to that place, but I don't always take the time to slow down and kind of let everything that I'm doing really marinate. Let me zone out and play a game, something that's fun, that doesn't require a lot of thought. That's when I feel most refreshed, after I we just play a fun little strategy game. Get back to square one. That's what I do.
Leadership well-being is so important in our community, in what we do every day. The definition is being responsible for others and ourselves, and showing good leadership and compassion. Being the executive director at Stewart's Caring Place, we take care of thousands of people on the cancer journey. So it's important to take care of ourselves and have self-care and self-care for our staff to get through their day and realize all the things that we're doing. So self-care is really an important part of having peace. Communication is so important to wellness and caring for ourselves and others with everything that we deal with and the journeys that we're on with our families. Communication is key to the staff and to ourselves as a team.
A leader's presence and their energy in a room really sets the energy for that room and for the day, and that, day to day, that consistent energy really is what ends up setting the culture of an organization. It's always going to be a journey, and we're always up and down. That's kind of the nature of finding balance, which I think that's how I see, peace is kind of a center, balanced place. And we'll always fall out, and I think we get better and better as we are able to realize we've fallen out more quickly and come back.
Leadership well-being, to me, is really how do you think about your role as a leader, being able to create rhythms of health, right? So it's leadership well-being is not just about what you do in the 9 to 5, but it's about creating rhythms and spaces where you can be a healthy person that allows you to lead well. In a world and in a time where we have so much information thrown at us all the time, it's important to be able to step back reflect on what has been and be grateful for those things. So often, we are always thinking about what's next or what's coming or what's happening in someone else's life. And it becomes really important for us to be able to think about what we think about those things, and then be grateful for the things that are happening in our life. We can run this race and so easily just get caught up in all the ways that information are coming at us. And that space to be able to unplug, be grateful, and reflect become really important for leaders.
Please join me in welcoming to the stage two remarkable community leaders to share their words of welcome for this morning's event. Summit County Executive Eileen Shapiro, followed by City of Akron Mayor Dan Horrigan.
Good morning, everyone. Okay, one more time. Good morning, everyone. Thank you. It is my pleasure and my honor, as it always is, to stand before you at this breakfast. I always look forward to Heart to Heart's annual breakfast and their ability to bring together so many different people with so many different beliefs and thoughts and communication styles and put them all in a room, send us a message, and ask us to go out and do something with it. Heart to Heart, your commitment to your founders and to you, the new leadership, have done an amazing job of communicating in a way to our community and the individuals and businesses in that community that makes a difference in people's lives every single day. We are never too old to learn. I want to thank you for that. And I got to say, what an incredible pairing of partners today. It took me twice to say that, two words together. Pairing of partners this morning, the Urban League and Heart to Heart. What an amazing combination. Two entities, their leadership brought together to celebrate and further strengthen our community. And what can I say about Teresa LeGrair? Teresa is a rock star. She is truly a woman of substance and a good friend and a wonderful colleague. Can we hear it for Teresa? She and her team are making an incredible difference in our community, especially in the lives of our young people who will create the future for us. Our theme this morning is Protect Your Peace, Leadership Wellness. Wellness on many fronts has been as an exceptional challenge over the past few years. The world is changing, and the challenges abound as we work to find our footing in a very, very trying times. An opioid epidemic, a pandemic, a war across the globe, a workforce that's ever-changing, culture wars, and the fact that there never seems to be enough time in the day to get done what we need to get done, just to mention a few. So questions about wellness as leaders and the wellness of our teams are more important than ever right now. What we learn today will have a great impact on everyone we touch. Achieving balance between our personal and professional lives and maintaining a healthy mind and body is a difficult task at best, as we face so many daily demands. Oftentimes they say they're like planes coming into O'Hare, one right after another, every 3 minutes. By embracing the theme today and continuing the conversation with our organizations and in turn our sphere of influences, I'm confident that we can rise to meet these challenges if we look at what's around us and we look inside of ourselves and we try to marry those two together with balance, compassion, understanding, and wisdom. Remember, I always believe we are Summit County strong. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for coming today.
Well, good morning and thank you. A self-assessment tool at 7:45. The one thing it did teach me, I can tell you this, there's only so far and so fast you can run from it at some particular point. It's going to catch up, especially I think over the last couple of years. Thanks for joining all of us here today at the 29th Annual Greater Akron Speaks Out for Values Breakfast. Always an honor to be part of this and attend. I'm especially excited for today's keynote speaker, Teresa in the Urban League. I'm looking forward to both of the messages. Like Heart to Heart, Urban League has been a very welcome partner for the city of Akron for a number of years, as all of your organizations share a similar set of values and commitment to a community-minded leadership. The theme for this year's event, obviously, is Protect Your Peace in Leadership Well-Being, and even today as an important topic that is for all of us leaders across the community. Leadership by its nature often comes with a good amount of stress. Being able to protect your own peace so that you can properly care for others around you is vital to that leadership. And I think of the instructions they give you each time you board a plane. In the event of an emergency, please put your own oxygen mask on. I think that's the same analogy you can use here. Take care of yourself at this point, and then you can help others. As leaders, we have to take that step to care for ourselves and our inner peace, and our best selves to work each day for not only our residents, but really our customers and all of our employees. Each of you is going to find some sort of stress relief at some point. For me, it's getting out on a golf course and playing really bad, or getting out on a number of bike trails and getting out there, and I think that's the important part, especially over the last couple of years. So thank you all for filling the room again after 29 years, especially after the last couple. Looking forward to this morning's message and showing your support for this wonderful organization. Thank you.
Thank you, County Executive and Mayor. We are now blessed to have Minister Brianna Griggs come to the stage to offer the invocation for this morning.
Good morning. My name is Brianna Griggs. I serve as the executive assistant to this great CEO at the Akron Urban League. Let us bow. Father, we thank you for this gracious occasion where we can gather together in unity. We thank you for the opportunity to serve this community and support the mission of Heart to Heart leadership. We ask that your wisdom continues to guide the leaders of this organization. Allow us to stand boldly on the shoulders of this great leader being recognized, who has trailblazed a path of excellence. She has made you proud. Now bless this meal that it may nourish us to look ahead and look beyond. Amen.
Thank you, Minister Griggs. We're going to again hear from a few of those community leaders that we just heard from about how they, as leaders, support the well-being of those in their care.
I think the changes that I'm seeing in myself right now is perspective is kind of a good way to summarize it. In leadership, we can get caught up in all the things and the tyranny of the urgent and what needs to be done right now. And my own personal growth as a leader is be able to sit in that perspective that not everything has to be done yesterday, and to be able to think about how we move forward together without creating unneeded pressure on the people that we're leading. It is the responsibility of the leader to step into caring for the people that you're leading. And I think one of the biggest ways that we can do that as leaders is to just ask the question and not just push past the responses or wait for the next question, but to really be able to ask follow-up questions, asking good open-ended questions, not just about the work that they're doing, but about what it means to slow down, to have perspective themselves, to think about their own well-being, encouraging them to take a day off, encouraging them to step into finding those rhythms of peace on their own.
As I've improved my own well-being, I think the ability to, again, have that resource to be able to be that place where the team and your coworkers can come and feel confident and safe that they're going to, no matter what state they might come in at, whether they're feeling balanced or feeling very out of balance, that they can come in and have a place for them to find their balance. Yes, I think that we have developed a culture of being able to pause with each other and actually being able to recognize in each other when those moments of hey, I need a little bit of a reset here, being able to help each other with that, and not just having my office be the place where that happens.
We like to make sure that our staff is very involved in their own self-care, and that's really helped me have better well-being for myself when I know that my staff is able to have it as well. They're responsible for their time. If they need to go to an appointment in the middle of the day, that's fine. They just work around that, and really letting them be their own boss and manage what they do and be a part of the team. We're always there for them, and we work as a team to support our mission, which is to provide a relaxed and caring environment for those on the cancer journey. And it's a big responsibility. And we have had cultural training to work together as a team.
When you can believe in others and their strengths and celebrate their strengths, that is well-being to me, because it's hard sometimes as a leader to delegate. And when you can even delegate, things like motivation and inspiration, not just tasks. Like, I need my friends to keep me motivated. I need a circle around me to bounce ideas off of. And that kind of leadership well-being is, we don't often think about it, but it is incredibly meaningful and impactful. I am surrounded by a lot of younger women, and I know they look to me as an example. So some of the habits and some of the values that I really hold dear, reflecting back to them, their own strengths and their own values that they may not see, is a part of being a great leader. A kind word, an affirmation, and expressing gratitude. Really simple ways to encourage and help develop, especially some of our young leaders that are in our city, in our community.
Introducing our keynote speaker this morning are two of her sons, Teresa and Emmanuel LeGrair. We pre-recorded this video thinking that they would not be able to join us, but Teresa was able to surprise his mom by being here this morning. So welcome, Teresa, and we'll watch the introduction video and then have our keynote speaker, Teresa LeGrair.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for coming out to today's event, and thank you for inviting my mother, Teresa LeGrair, to give the keynote. My name is Emmanuel, or Manny LeGrair, and I currently reside in Nashville, Tennessee, and I am Teresa's favorite son, not favorite middle son like she likes to hide behind. And I'm so sad I cannot be there in person, but I'm honored that I get to present her this morning. And by now, you all know that she serves as the president and CEO of the Akron Urban League, where the mission is to improve the quality of life of citizens of Summit County, particularly African Americans, by advocating and facilitating programs that are economically and educationally transformational, impacting their lives and lives of future generations. You also probably know about her other work at the Akron Community Foundation as Director of Community Investment and President and CEO of the Boys and Girls Clubs of the Western Reserve, Vice President of Programs and Member Services for the Akron-Canton Regional Food Bank, Vice President of Operations in Akron Urban League, and as Executive Director of Human Resources and Director of Guest Services at the National Inventors Hall of Fame. Now, firstly, I don't think I've ever had to say the word president or director so many times in one statement. And secondly, I believe that there is a common thread that strings through all of these positions. If you go back to the Urban League's mission that I shared earlier, I want to take some creative license and edit it just a bit. The mission is to improve the quality of life of citizens, and I'll stop there, period. I know that that is what she has done for all of us, her children, and for everyone that she comes in contact with via work, personal relationships, church, and anywhere else. And no one knows better than us, her kids, and boy do we know, that she drives a hard bargain and is a stickler for what she believes in. But the idea or the notion of pushing others to higher heights, increasing expectations, and raising the standard of anything that she's involved with is who she is at the core of her being. I believe that this is part of her personal mission and even calling, And I, for one, am proud of her and grateful for that. And Mom, I love you because I pulled out the blue frame glasses, just like the pair I got for the first time in the first grade.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Darrell, and I'm the eldest of her 3 sons, and it is my pleasure to get to brag on her a little bit before she gets up to speak. Growing up, she was a very focused and driven person. She was working full-time, she was momming us full-time, and she also made time to get her bachelor's degree in business management from Malone University. She was working at Aetna, and she was actually on track to get her own location. And I say all that to say that yes, success, yes, she's working hard, but family was always top priority. In the middle of all that, her mother had passed, and that was very rough for all of us. And she chose to leave Aetna to come home and be with us and to get us through that as a family. Coming out of that, she had started working at the National Inventors Hall of Fame. She started at the ground level, and she worked her way all the way up to being the executive director of human resources. And just through hard work and lots of study. There were no Teams meetings, no PDFs, no online classes. This was notebooks and papers and binders that she would bring home every day. And she would study so that she could be better. She also took on a lot of projects, planning events and different initiatives. And she told me on more than one occasion that she didn't know what she was doing some of the times, but she knew she could learn. And so she would take them and learn as she went, and success. She had so much success that she's gotten, many awards and, been on many committees over the years. Glass Half Full Award, the Woman of Legacy Award, the Akron Black Women's Leadership Caucus Award, the Connexus NEO Board of Directors, the Elevate Greater Akron Steering Committee, the Greater Akron Chamber Board Executive Committee. All these things that she's doing. And, I could keep going on, but, I know we went together here before Christmas, so I'll leave that alone. And it's just funny, my brothers and I, we joke with her a lot. We joke, but we pick on her with this a little bit because she's always getting something. So we say, Mom, if you don't sit down and quit getting all these awards and speaking somewhere, and it's our way of kind of telling her that, hey, we see you and we're proud of you. And we know that all these awards just mean that you're saying the same thing to her, that we appreciate you, we're proud of you. And we, after all the things she's done, I know that we're going to enjoy what she has to tell us today. And on that note, welcome to the stage, Teresa LeGrair.
Sounded like a good idea at the time. And I've spent my entire life being stopped by people to say, oh my God, you know who you look like? And I already know they're gonna say, Felicia Rashad. You look like Claire Huxtable. And so I get it all the time, have for many years. And so that was his little joke to say, Felicia. Yeah. Thank you, sons. Good morning, Greater Akron. Thank you for showing up on this early Monday morning to hear from me. I am honored, and I hope that I will say something today to inspire you, enlighten you, and encourage you. I'd like to say thank you to Jeremy Lyle and his team at Heart to Heart Leadership for entrusting this moment to me, that I might share a small amount of knowledge with each of you. I'd also like to thank my sons. Well, I think I'm gonna take that back. Darrell and Manny, who gave that wonderful introduction, and Teresa LeGrair will bless us later with a song selection. So I have all 3 of them participating in the program this morning. And of course, Brianna Griggs, my executive assistant, Minister Brianna LeGrair, for her moving invocation. So our focus today is titled, Protect Your Peace, Leadership, Well-Being. If this presentation was taking place in 2018, do I sound like an echo or am I good? Am I good? Okay.
If this presentation was taking place in 2018 or prior, my words would be somewhat different in that we would have had a strong assumption that most, if not all of us here today, would be silently struggling or suffering in silence from some sort of depression, sadness, grief, anxiety, loneliness, isolation, distress, shame, or even feelings and thoughts of self-harm, while appearing perfectly perfect in our outward appearance. In 2019, we were reluctantly introduced to a new thing, a new fear, a new unknown, and a new experience, which in turn elevated and exasperated any former knowledge we possessed of what it felt like to be scared, out of control, and helpless. That new thing was called a pandemic, AKA COVID-19. Some people had seen the scary movies in the past that were more categorized as sci-fi or fiction. Remember years ago they made the movie about the pandemic? But it became a real thing real quick for the entire world. Along with that new thing, the United States experienced another elevated upheaval or another form of a pandemic familiarly called racism. The killing of George Floyd and many other people of color, particularly Black men, caused a heightened sense of fear and anger that many had not experienced either in a long time or not yet in their lifetime. And those are two major experiences that have shaken our existence as we know it. But even before the pandemic, all of us, as wives, husbands, parents, grandparents, children, and leaders, were faced with our personal journeys of navigating our own personal mental health struggles. And those included all kinds of things: childhood abuse, trauma or neglect, social isolation or loneliness, experiencing discrimination or stigma, social disadvantage, poverty, debt or other financial related issues, bereavement, severe or long-term stress, and or having a long-term physical health condition. Those thoughts we can have of fear, loneliness, shame, and vulnerability can be a real downer. But what will be our takeaway today is a message of empowerment and uplift, even in the face of darkness. What we know is that we must not dwell on the negative or it will consume us. Brené Brown says we must summon up the common warrior within us and strike back at the forces that conspire to weigh us down. We must break the veil of stigma. Stigma is toxic. It dictates not only how we feel inside, but how we are supposed to feel about others as well. Stigma is a judgment, a label, a curse, and a social scourge, but it does not need to define us. If we call out the shame and fear from our past, we shout down the specters of stigma and call out a new chapter in life. We should look at ourselves as we truly are, not who others think we should be or how others see us. Who are we truly inside? If we are rigorously honest with ourselves, then we can begin to address whatever mental health issues we struggle with. It is lethal to live under the cloud of psychological distress, all to impress other people and appear pleasing, strong, and put together in their eyes. It may make us appear brave, but it makes us also simultaneously vulnerable. Pastor Laureate of Arlington Church of God, the Reverend Dr. Ronald J. Fowler, once said in a sermon, "If you have not been through anything, just keep on living." That statement struck me, and it stuck with me, and I have never forgotten it. Life can definitely serve up a lion's share of sadness, loss, and life challenges for all of us, but our motivation to fight back comes in different forms. Our strongest fight sometimes cannot be when we're in the storm, but surrounding ourselves with others who will provide love and support and help sustain us until we can get back into fighting shape is very important. Your support circle, or your tribe, as I call it, will believe, fight, and pray for you until you can believe for yourself that you will make it to the other side of your challenge. Love is a motivator. It makes us feel elated, wanted, desirable, and included. It affects the chemistry of our brains. Our behavior can reroute the channels of the mind, thus reshaping how we think, act, and feel. So, even in the most challenging times, we must empathize, support, lift up, and celebrate each other in our personal and professional spaces. Leaders are charged with leading holistically and always being mindful of your staff's humanity. We are not machines, and each person's access to support and resources can be drastically different. And how a person handles a life challenge can be drastically different. I'm gonna take a quick pause. Sharon, can you bring me that water? Because my mouth is dry. And I'm sure, just remaking the point that I just finished with, everybody's situation is different. And so none of us are cookie cutter, and everybody's personal and professional situations have to be dealt with in the way that makes a difference for them. Awareness, communication, and empathy are only a few characteristics of a great leader, but they are critically necessary in order to remain self-aware, intentional, and tuned into the needs of your team, colleagues, and coworkers. As you now know, I have 3 adult sons with very distinct personalities. Those differences are glaringly obvious and have been since their day of birth and has remained consistent throughout the years. Parenting each of them was a personalized process, and the parents in the room, you know what I mean. Of course, there are standard household rules, education expectations, and age-related benchmarks that were consistent for each of them. However, I'm looking at my oldest. Communication with them was very different because of how each of them would or would not respond to direction or rules. I'm talking to my oldest. Leading a team or building healthy relationships in the workplace is no different. Policies and procedures apply to everyone, but there is always a personalization to how you interact day to day with each person, as a person. Communication style is adjusted depending on the person, how they receive and process information, and at times, unique decisions and changes must be made based on specific life or work challenges that they may be experiencing, with a goal of protecting their peace as one of your valued assets in your organization. Leading people successfully cannot be done in exclusivity of not keeping their humanity front and center. This same thought process applies to the drafting of legislation, laws, policies, and procedures that will directly impact the lives of people, no matter their socioeconomic status. This room this morning is filled with community people, nonprofits, corporate, government, law enforcement, philanthropy, pastors, ministers, mental health practitioners, athletes, you name it, it's in this room. We have spent countless years and dollars on committees, consultants, strategic plans, and legislation trying to fight the wrongs of systemic and structural racism. What I do know is that it is not enough to take racist and discriminatory policies off the books if we are going to achieve true justice. We must pursue systemic equality. A system is a collaboration of elements that are organized for a common purpose. Past policies have structured our society and created deeply rooted patterns and practices that disempower and disenfranchise communities of color. It can only be disrupted and reformed with new policies of similar strength, efficacy, and accountability. Combating it requires aggressive action to address structures, policies, and practices that contribute to the wealth gap, health disparities, inequalities in educational access, outcomes, and beyond. And it requires intentional and aggressive focus on what damage has been done to affect the mental health of millions of people. For the past 3 years, we have all lived through an experience that has elevated and exacerbated the need even more to destigmatize the topic of mental health. No one has gone unscathed by recent happenings. Protecting your peace is not a one and done. It is not simple, nor is it easy. It does not have a start and a stop timeline. It is an ongoing process and an ongoing part of life that requires your intentionality and consistency of focus. The need to protect your peace can show up in a myriad of ways, with many diverse levels and degrees of challenge and difficulty. We, of course, have times of wonderful bliss and happiness, love and jubilation, feelings of full joy and peace. And then there are hard times of struggle and challenge, which may require a mental health day from work, AKA PTO, take a vacation, meditation or yoga, time with your family or tribe, talking to a trusted person, or seeking professional help at whatever level is necessary for you to be well and coexist in a mentally and emotionally healthy space. Hashtag self-care. What is not ever going to be a part of your wellness plan is trying to live up to human expectations that has been placed on you and that makes you feel pressured to give the appearance of unwavering strength and perfection at all times. And I bet if I said how many in the room do that, every hand in this room would go up. Because, how you feeling today? Oh, great. When you know on the inside you are struggling like you've never struggled before. During the times in your life where you are blessed to be in a good headspace, be available to encourage and support other people. It makes no difference what their position or job title is. Look for ways to show love, grace, empathy, and compassion in ways that can be cards, emails, texts, hugs, compliments, or offers of help with work or even in their personal life, like running errands. Most times, it's just those things that can make such a difference in someone's life. Be willing to forgive. There will inevitably be times where we need to exercise forgiveness for something we did or something someone did to us in the workplace or personally. We do not want to unpack and live in our failures and shortcomings. Don't unpack and live there. Because guess what? No matter how perfect someone seems to you or projects on you, they are having their own inner struggles of insecurities, hurt, sadness, and thoughts of, am I good enough? How do I deal with this? I feel so helpless. The gift I have been given by God is one of discernment and focus on how to help guide someone through difficult times and places. I also know that there are others here today that also possess that gift. The challenge of that gift is that you can grow weary at times and sometimes feel used up. It's those times where we have to still ourselves, meditate, and take time to reflect, decompress, and refresh. Those are 3 important words: reflect, decompress, and refresh yourself. I believe God will send you persons that can bless and support you in the exact way you need to be supported. Again, it's a personal thing. That can take on a persona of a spouse, a friend, child, parent, sibling, colleague, pastor, coworker, or a mental health professional. You see how I keep ending those? Or a mental health professional. Joel Osteen said, when you go through a disappointment, don't say, I don't know how this has happened to me. It's so unfair. That's just going to draw in more negativity. Your declaration should be, I'm not staying here, I'm moving forward. New beginnings are in my future. The rest of my life will be the best of my life. The Bible says in Proverbs chapter 23:7, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. The mind is powerful in a way that is unexplainable. My work at the Akron Urban League is so rewarding because we have the opportunity to directly impact and change the trajectory of someone's life with empathy, support, encouragement, access to critical resources, mentoring, and yes, showing God's love. I count it a privilege to be in a position where I can make a difference in so many people's lives. My takeaway for each of you is to be willing to seek out support, counseling, or coaching when you are in a situation and need help. Don't spend your life waiting to be perfect and bulletproof. Be willing to show your vulnerability. Live your authentic self with intentionality. Live your authentic self with courage and transparency without turning your back on God, meaningful relationships, and opportunities that can bless you and in turn allow you to bless others. So watch your thoughts, they become your words. Watch your words, they become your actions. Watch your actions, they become your habits. Watch your habits, they become your character. Watch your character, it becomes your destiny. If we share our shame story with the wrong person, they can easily become one more piece of flying debris in an already dangerous storm. You are imperfect. You are wired for struggle, but you are worthy of love and belonging. So I remind myself that I don't have to chase extraordinary moments to find happiness. It's right in front of me if I'm paying attention and practicing gratitude. Mental healthiness is what we are striving to win at, and it's a team sport. And we all have a position on the team. With the right equipment, tools, commitment, and surrounding ourselves with the right people, we can practice and we can win. So let's play to win. I would like to close with a familiar poem written by the fantastic poet Maya Angelou with a slight Teresa modification. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in very dirt, but still, like dust, I'll rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? 'Cause I walk like I've got oil wells pumping in my living room? Just like moons and like suns, with the certainty of tides, just like hopes springing high, still I rise. Did you want to see me broken? Bowed head and lowered eyes, shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries? Does my haughtiness offend you? Don't you take it awful hard? 'Cause I laugh like I've got gold mines digging in my own backyard? You may shoot me with your words. You may cut me with your eyes. You may kill me with your hatefulness, but still, like air, I'll rise. Does my intelligence upset you? Does it come as a surprise that I am wounded but not broken, and that I plan to succeed against all odds? Out of the huts of history, out of the huts of history's shame, I rise. Up from a past that's rooted in pain, I rise. I'm a black ocean, leaping and wide, welling and swelling, I bear in the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise. Into a daybreak that's wondrously clear, I rise. Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave, I am the dream and the hope of the slave. I rise, I rise, I rise. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to me this morning, this early May morning. I pray that your takeaway will be a renewed resolve to protect your peace. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank Thank you, Teresa, for inspiring us with your words and your story and your example. We have a unique print here with the quote by Nelson Henderson that says, "The true meaning of life is to plant trees under whose shade you do not plan to sit." And we're so grateful for the many trees that you've planted in our community, in our own hearts and lives, and that you planted here this morning by your words and example. And we've also made a donation to the Akron Urban League in your honor. So thank you so very much. Reflect, decompress, and refresh. So many things to reflect upon. Thank you, Teresa. As we come to a conclusion, we have a couple more elements, so don't dart out the door quite yet. We do want to remind you that we're launching our Instagram page. Our marketing manager, Amy, would appreciate me mentioning that. We're launching our Instagram page at Heart to Heart Lead this morning, and you can find some information there. And we're giving out some Akron Coffee Roasters gift cards to a few lucky followers. Also, don't forget to take your plants with your QR code with you. Well, if you've been here with us before, or maybe it's your first time, we cannot end our morning without a word from Heart to Heart co-founder and director of community impact, Larry Villeman, and his wonderful wife, Carol, to share their word of the day, and then we will be inspired by a song from our musical guest for this morning, Teresa LeGrair. Thank you, everyone.
Good morning. Good to be with you again in this, I guess, the 29th year of our annual breakfast. Reminds me that I'm getting older and any number of beautiful memories. But at this point in time in our annual breakfast, I always offer up to our audience the word for the day as provided me by my wife, Carol. You know, and just a couple of days ago, we were having breakfast together, and I said, what's the word for the day, you know, for our annual breakfast? And she looked at me, and it was a word that I didn't expect. She said, Larry, the word for the day is attention. I said, attention? I said, wait, me like tell the audience to pay attention? She says, oh no, Larry, this isn't about your audience. This is about you. I said, well, what do you mean? She said, you know, Larry, lately, it's been hard for me to get your attention. You know, you're distracted. And when I do get your attention, it's hard to hold it. You know, there's a lot of things going on in you, and I always laughingly talk about that as me being in Larry land, you know, and the need for me to get down to the earth, you know, and focus on what's right in front of me, to be totally present. You know, more and more in Heart to Heart in our purposeful leadership programs, you know, we're calling on all leaders to be fully present at work to the people that, you know, are entrusted to them. You know, oftentimes we hear, you know, I'm available. My door's always open, you know, 24/7. I'm available to my people. You know, and the question I always ask is, it's not so much, are you available, but are you approachable? Are you present? Can we have a conversation about this work that we're doing? You know, I saw recently that in an article that CEO more and more is beginning to stand for a leader being the Chief Empathy Officer, because there are a lot of distractions out there. And as I was thinking about it, as I was talking to Carol, I said, you know, honey, you're right. You know, I am distracted. You know, everything going on in the Ukraine and people recovering from the pandemic and so many leaders struggling with how do we re-enter? How do we establish what they call the new normal? You know, but to put it in another way, you know, Carol was really asking me, you know, Larry, what's disturbing your peace? 4 months before my older brother Jim died in a car accident in Vermont, leaving 2 boys, my nephews, 7 and 4, back in 2001, he had given me this book, Peace is every step. Peace is every day. You know, it's a book written by the late Buddhist monk, Thich Nhat Hanh. And often when I'm feeling disturbed, I'll go to this book and look at it. And let me conclude with what Thich Nhat Hanh said, which reminds me of my brother, brings tears to my eyes, and maybe has relevance over 20 years later. Many people are aware of the world's suffering. Their hearts are filled with compassion. They know what needs to be done, and they engage in political, social, and environmental work to try to change things. But after a period of intense involvement, they may become discouraged. What's discouraging you now? Where might you find encouragement from someone, something, a loved one, a period of reflection? They may become discouraged if they lack the strength needed to sustain a life of action. Real strength is not in power, money, or weapons, but in deep inner peace.
Against all odds, yet still I rise high above the clouds. At times I feel low, yet still I but not in despair. Struggling, I make my way through. Trials, they come to make me strong. I must endure, I must hold on. above what my eyes can see. Knowing God is able to strengthen me, to strengthen me, yet still I rise, never to give up, no, never to give in against all odds, yet still I rise high above the clouds. At times I feel low, yet still I need to know which way to go, yet still at times I feel low, yet still
I think if we could start off every morning like that, we'd all be able to stay at that level, right? Thank you all again. Have a wonderful day and continue to live out the message from today. Protect your peace and guard your well-being. Thank you all for being here.